Hey gang, we're at it again. Would you believe it? All right, so today I'm gonna be quite frank with you. We're gonna be talking about some overall dieting tips. Whether you're bulking, whether you're cutting, I have experience in both. I've bulked up to 215 pounds and I've cut down to as little as 149 pounds. So I think I'd like to say that I know what I'm talking about here. Okay, well, we're close to summer, you know, whether you want to bulk, whether you want to cut, it's up to you. But I'll tell you kind of the ins and outs of both. So to start from the beginning, a calorie is a measurement of energy in which we ingest into ourselves. Now, obviously, like, bigger people need more calories just to live, because they are a bigger individual, moving blood around, pumping organs. You know, they're pumping more blood around, they're pumping more oxygen around. Whereas smaller people, they gotta do less of that, right? So for me, you know, I would be needing baseline of like 2,500 calories to maintain my weight, as well as my energy expenditure level, right? Because that day, I'm doing nothing. If I'm working out or doing cardio, I might need 2,800 or 2,700, depending on what I'm doing. And a bigger individual, unlike Sam Sulek, might need 3,500 calories to maintain, or he might need 4,000, right? Because he's a bigger individual who's lifting more weight than I am. And that's just how it goes. Whereas someone 120 pounds, they are not going to need as much, just being as much calories as I would need. Unless that person's energy expenditure is much more than mine. If they're a marathon runner, if they're a swimmer, if they're a hiker, they may need more energy. Now, if you go over that energy level, you gain weight. What I mean by that is, if you eat above what is needed, then that is put into storage or fat, right? And then if you eat under that energy expenditure level, you spent more energy but didn't eat enough, then you lose weight. Then it takes from your body to supply that. So I hope we're kind of getting the general gist of it here. So if you're cutting, the biggest thing I would say is, you know, make sure that your proteins are going to be good. Make sure your fats are going to be good. As cliche as this sounds, you got to cut carbs. Carbs are the easiest thing to cut because it's really just energy, right? Whereas fats and proteins are going to be needed for muscle maintenance, repair, and then fats are going to be needed for hormone production as well as protein absorption. So you're going to need those things when you're cutting. And then really just cut out carbs. So you should have a baseline meal, and all you have to do is cut out the carbs, and pretty much everything stays the same. You can add a little bit more of like protein because those carbs are gone. Not like a crazy amount, but you're going to be using proteins mainly for energy instead of those carbs now because they're gone. So to go zero carbs is a bit silly. You don't need to go zero carbs, but you want to cut the bulk of your carbohydrates. Whereas if you're bulking, you can actually have a ton of carbs, and you really only need your protein to be at your lean body weight. So for me, I would say my lean body weight's probably 170, 165. So I only need to ingest that much. And then, what was I going to say? And then so I have my fat levels at 65, my protein's at 180, you know, just to have that little bit extra for me. I just like it that way. And then I fill the rest of my calories out with carbohydrates. And then, if I want to cut, I just cut those carbohydrates out. And then I'm already at a pretty big deficit, so. Whereas if you're bulking, you know, you can have a little bit less protein, but like I said, you still want it to be around your lean body weight. You know, if you're 300 pounds and a little bit more fatty, if you will. Rather than eating 300 grams of protein, you might only need 200. So, you know, eat your 200 grams of protein in, and you'll be at a good level right there. A gram per pound of body weight is the general baseline, is what I'm saying. Let's see. What are some other... With bulking, I would say, with bulking, you don't want to gain weight too fast. Now, you can weigh yourself out every day. It's most likely going to fluctuate a little bit crazy because your sodium intake might be different. Your water intake might be different. So one day you might be at 185, the next year at 182. How'd that happen? It's really just water. So I would say, you know, if you want to weigh yourself out every day, thumbs up. I weigh myself out once every 7 days. I just like that cycle a bit more because it actually shows me, like, okay, where am I at right now? If I gain too much weight, like if I'm at 175 and now I'm at 181, I need to dial it back, because if I keep going like that, a lot of it's really just going to be body fat if I keep eating above that needed energy level. So I want to gain about a half pound to a pound, maybe every week. I've seen people even say 1 pound every month, and I'm like, that's a little slow, but you know, you do you. You know, that's them. That's their needs and fitness choices. So if you want to gain a pound a month, cool. If you want to gain a pound every 2 weeks, that's cool. Just don't have it be a crazy amount of weight every couple weeks, because like I said, most of that's going to be body weight. Whereas dieting, if you're trying to cut down, if you're losing too much weight too fast, and if you're trying to get shredded, if you're losing too much weight too fast, that's actually can result in muscle loss. Now, you're gonna lose muscle, a little bit of muscle in a cut. That's just how it goes. But you want to try to minimize that damage, right? Like minimizing fat gain. So I want to minimize the amount of weight I gain, whereas I want to minimize the amount of weight I lose. So I don't want to be losing 5 pounds every week, because shit, at that point, like, I'm eating nothing. I'm losing a bunch of muscle doing it. I mean, I'm getting shredded, but all this is gone. Whereas if I gain 5 pounds every week, I'm going to be a big old boy. So you got to try to minimize everything you can. It's small steps, right? Unless, you know, your situation could call differently, in which you need to lose a bunch of weight. Like those guys on my 600-pound life, you know, they're okay to lose a little bit, you know, more weight at a bigger gap. So let's see, what other tips and tricks do I have? Tips and tricks. Make sure you're measuring out. You at least have an estimate of how many calories and what your macros are. Because too many people just eat and eat and eat, and then they're like, oh man, I'm not gaining weight. What's going on right now? What's happening? And then turns out they're only eating like 2,100 calories and working out like a freak. So, you know, you're gonna need a little more than that. So, and that happened to me most recently. You know, I was like, I was working out and I was going hard, and I was like, fuck, like I don't feel like I'm really getting stronger. And then I look at what I'm eating, and I was only eating like 2,200 calories a day, whereas I need more than that. So, where was I before that? I lost my path. Oh yeah, just make sure that you're measuring out everything you're eating. You at least have a general guesstimate of what you're eating, you know. I'll be honest, I kind of freak out a little bit if I don't have the exact number, but I need to get over that if I'm in, like, you know, if I'm out. And if I'm out and about, you know, I've gotten to the point now where I can pretty much round out how much of the plate I'm going to be eating. So I usually get the leaner options, if that's not available, like recently when I went to Anaheim or Los Angeles, I went to a fried chicken place and I got, rather than the chicken thighs or the drumsticks, I got the chicken breast, because I know that chicken breast is going to be a lot of protein. The only thing was, though, is that it was fried, so I can automatically assume this thing's probably about 600-700 calories with a lot of fats and carbohydrates, but I'm also getting a lot of proteins in. So after a while of counting out and measuring your macros and seeing what's on your plate, you can eventually start to guesstimate these things. But like I said, if you're just starting out, measure everything. I know it can be tough, I know it can be tricky, but the more you do it, the easier it'll get. Trust me. But anyway, I don't know how long we're at here because I can't see it on the freaking GoPro. We're going to be hitting big old back and buys today, and we're going to see how we look on this little mini cut right now. So goals 175, we're at 178 I measured this morning, so excellent work. We only got a little bit left to go, and then after that I'll start eating that maintenance again. So it'll be a little less and I'll be a little more shredded, so that way I go into summer situations, I can show off my six-pack. Cool, right? Alright, gang, well, enough rambling and yapping. Let's go work our freaking butts off, dude.
Come on. Okay.
We're trying rows for the upteenth time. It's been a while since I did these, but I found a cue that really helped engage my back, so hopefully this will go well.
Nice. Yeah. If you like.
We can actually, find something later. Or you can just hang out, dude. You all four of us could go to the 6 o'clock on Saturday. 6:30. Yeah. Because you don't want to. Yeah, exactly. It's weird driving on Saturdays compared to the rest of the week on traffic. Really? Yeah, because in the mornings, now I'm hitting like all the school times that everyone's driving. And then Saturdays, like, don't know. It's cool. Traffic preferred? No, never. I have on the way back over that we saw. Dude, back up all the way to me. So, yeah, we.
Let's get the heck out of H.
When I was down there or something, I don't know.
Brofist.